In this video, we're going to talk about Bitcoin and what makes Bitcoin so special compared to all the other technologies. What makes Bitcoin special compared to other currencies like the dollar or like gold? So those are the basic things that we're going to talk about. Individuals who are newer to this market, they tend to get introduced to a lot of different coins, and Bitcoin just tends to be the most talked about, but people don't really understand why. It's important to understand that Bitcoin was the first major cryptocurrency, and it's the most decentralized cryptocurrency that exists today. The reason that decentralization is so important is because this is the whole reason that cryptos exist. Bitcoin was created out of a distrust for the current system. We realized that we couldn't trust our banks, we couldn't trust our governments, and we couldn't trust the financial institutions that were in the middle of these transactions. After the 2008 crisis, it proved to us that banks were doing a lot of negligent things with our money, and it led to a lot of people thinking that we need a better way to do things. Bitcoin was the solution to that problem, and it continues to be the only coin in the entire market that actually solves that problem. It solves the problem of if the government actually wanted to take your money, shut down your bank account, close up shop, do you have an alternative to be able to access your money? If the company that created the coin, let's say that we're talking about one of these other tokens, if the company that created this coin or this token goes under, chances are you're going to lose some money. Chances are that they could take some of the money and just walk away with it. Chances are that it's unreliable because they can change the rules of the game and create more of their own currency. Bitcoin is the only one that doesn't do any of those things. And so let's talk about the 5 things that make Bitcoin special. Number one is it's decentralized. Decentralized means that there's no central administrative authority that makes the rules, changes the rules, or can close the game at any time. The Bitcoin network is distributed. Distributed means that there's no central authority that's also controlling the power, that's controlling the network usage. It's distributed amongst all the different miners around the world, everybody who's currently running a computer called a node. Those individuals get to verify, run the system, and validate the transactions. As a reward for doing that, they get rewarded in Bitcoin. And that's why they continue to do it. If a miner is spending all this money on electricity and they don't get any Bitcoin back, it's going to be a very expensive project. And so they're incentivized to continue to run the process efficiently. And if they do that, they get rewarded in Bitcoins. So it's a very efficient system that just runs on this algorithm. So first thing is decentralized, it's distributed. Third is it's anonymous. And so all the transaction history is made public, which is another one of these things that we're going to talk about, but it's still anonymous. And so we can tell that wallet number 54836 bought this Bitcoin, but your name is never tied to that wallet. They don't say John bought this much Bitcoin. It says wallet 58386. And so if individuals don't know what your wallet number is, they'll never be able to know who's doing these transactions, which is one of the beautiful things about Bitcoin. At first, individuals thought that Bitcoin was used for money laundering and drug trafficking because of this anonymous aspect. What we've recently learned is it's actually Bitcoin is one of the worst things that you can use for money laundering because all of the transaction history is made public and it's there forever. You can never change it. So even though your wallet address is public, your name is private, it's anonymous, there's still ways for somebody to figure out, hey, this is this person's account. And once they do that, all the transaction history is available. So there's the benefit of being anonymous where your name's not attached to it. If you want to buy something and you don't want the whole world to know, that's okay. And then it's public so everybody can see what's happening with the money at all times. If the government decides to print a bunch of money today, there's a few ways that we can look to check, but we don't really know how much money is in the system already. We can look at how much money they're adding, but we don't really know how to add all the money that's in the system or the transactions that are happening. With Bitcoin, it's a little bit different. If the government wanted to bail out some companies and the public didn't really agree, those would be on a public ledger and we'd be able to see that transaction go through. And the public might be able to say, hey, we don't really agree with using tax money to bail things out. So this public anonymous platform is one of the biggest benefits to Bitcoin. The last and what I believe is the most important benefit of Bitcoin compared to everything else is its fixed supply. Now, what a fixed supply means is that there's a set number of coins that were created and no other coins will ever be created afterwards. Bitcoin is one of the only coins, if not the only cryptocurrency that has an actual fixed supply. Other companies, they have a board of directors that makes decisions. They promised us that they'll never make more coins, but we never really know. At any given moment, if they need to fundraise to get more money, they can issue more coins. People can buy them, and then all of a sudden they have more money. But what does that do to the value of your coin if they just print more? It makes your coin worth less. That's why Bitcoin is protected. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist, and that number is never going to change. There is no board of Bitcoin that can come up and create more coins. So that's the beautiful thing about what Bitcoin really is it was set as an algorithm and it hasn't changed since. There have been some minor adjustments that developers have made, but the idea of Bitcoin hasn't changed. There is a fixed supply. It's public, so everybody can see what's happening. It's anonymous, so you can still keep a level of privacy in your transactions. Is distributed, so there's no central authority that can ruin the game and shut the whole system down. And it's decentralized, so it's not all in one place that you can close off shop like people think that's happening in China. People think that all of the mining is centralized in China. And so if China shuts down crypto mining, it's going to ruin the system. All that happens is if China shuts down their miners, that hash power, the energy that people are using to solve these math problems to get Bitcoins, that just goes all around the world. That goes to different miners all around the world, and their hash power gets bigger. And so it's like a game of whack-a-mole. If you try to whack them all in one area, you're going to have to go and shut it down somewhere else. So that's the decentralized aspect that protects Bitcoin from a nefarious actor. Now, much like the other videos, this is also going to be in the notes if you guys want to go back and look at this. But this is just a quick recap of what these words mean: decentralized, distributed, public, anonymous, and fixed. So if we can talk about Bitcoin's importance inside of the crypto market, inside of the crypto space, let's look at the actual numbers here. The total crypto market as of the time of this recording, which is the 21st of May, 2021, the market cap of crypto is sitting at $1.634 trillion. Bitcoin makes up about 45% of the total market. Okay, they're at around $800 billion at the time of this video. By the end of this year, I'm confident we'll be back at above $1 trillion for Bitcoin. But Bitcoin does make up 45% of all of the market volume. So let's look at how many cryptos there actually are. There are 10,034 cryptos currently in the space that are recognized with a big enough market cap that they matter. Okay, there's 382 known exchanges where crypto can be transacted. And so there's a market that has over 10,000 different investments. And the total value of the entire market is 1.6 trillion. Bitcoin makes up 45%. So one currency, Bitcoin, is bigger than 9,999 coins. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. That's the dominance that Bitcoin has over the rest of this space. So when people try to hype up a certain currency, let's take Doge, let's take Cardano, let's take whatever, either a currency or a token that they're trying to push, you have to compare that with the size of Bitcoin and how much volume is actually going to be in this market. So I hope that that gives you guys a pretty good understanding of how big Bitcoin is compared to the overall market and what makes Bitcoin so special. When somebody tries to argue with you about, no, I don't think Bitcoin's going to be the next big currency, I think that this random coin is going to be it, you always have to remember that the value of cryptocurrencies comes from these five things. It comes from the fixed supply, it being public, the anonymous aspect, the distributed ledgers, and the decentralized nature of it. Because the value of crypto comes not in good times, but in bad times. If the government wants to shut down our entire economy, or they want to do something nefarious with our money, or the banks want to do something nefarious with our money, this system protects that money a lot better. And so what we could say to the current system is, all right, you guys can do whatever you want and print unlimited dollars. What we're going to do is we're going to opt into this system, which is better, with a fixed supply and public and distributed and decentralized. And if the market goes up, we're in a better spot. So I hope that helps you guys. So I hope that helps everyone understand why Bitcoin is more important than almost everything else in the space, why Bitcoin's dominance is so prevalent, and what makes Bitcoin so dominant, these five factors that we talked about. So I want you guys to continue to learn, continue to grow, and continue to understand why Bitcoin is important. The next videos, we'll do a brief touch on the technology that revolves around Bitcoin, and then we can go through and talk about building a portfolio.